Hi guys, this week we're going to discuss about the for and while loops in Python. Let's get started. First, we'll talk about the while loops. While loops execute a loop of commands only if the condition is true. So let's say I equals 1 and then while with the while loop I is less than 10, then print I, then I equals I plus 1. We do this so there's not going to be an infinite loop, because if we just print it, it'll keep printing and printing and printing and printing and printing, and it'll be an infinite loop. So we want to do this so eventually the I will become 10. So when you run this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it prints out every single number. So it goes here first, I equals 1. Then while I is less than 10, 1 is less than 10, so it prints I, which is 1. And then it goes on here and sets a new value for I. So I equals I plus 1, which is now 2. Then it goes back down again while I is less than 10, which is true. Then it goes on and on and on until it becomes 10 and the program just stops. That's the basic explanation of a while loop. So the second is the for loop. For loops are used in iterating over a sequence like strings, lists, and tuples. So let's say I equals, let's put a string, so burger. So for the for loop, letter, so you can set this to anything you want in I print letter. So we use this keyword into I, so we basically assign every single letter. I just changed the letter. We assign every single letter into letter. So now it should be letter. With this keyword, it will print out every single letter one by one. So now for letter in I, it prints out every single letter, B-U-R-G-E-R, which spells out burger. And we can even use in lists, as what I said. So while let's put strings, let's put a whole menu, fries and Coke, milkshake. Now when you run this, it'll print out burger, fries, Coke, milkshake in sequence. So that's the basic explanation of the for loop. Now there are two more functions that I'll show you that you can use in loops. For these two functions, I'll use the while loop. You can use both of these functions in both loops, but only for now we'll use a while loop. So I equals 1, then a while loop, then we'll do the same program. I is less than 10, then print I, then I equals I plus 1. When you run this, it'll run the same thing, 1 to 9. Good. And then now, what if we want to skip 5 and only 5? We'll use the continue function. So now we'll use an if function here. If I equals 5, then I equals I plus 1 and continue. Now, why do we put the I equals I plus 1 here, even in the if function? It's because if we don't put this, it'll just continue the sequence, but I will just stay being 5. So it won't skip it, it'll just stop the program itself. So when you run this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it skipped 5. That's good. It works. This is because when it goes to 5, it plus by 1, so it becomes 6, and it continues the program. And now I is still less than 10 because it's 6, and I is not 5 anymore, so it continues the loop again. So what do you do if it becomes 5, you just want to stop the whole loop itself in just one function? Well, you use the break function. So break, when you use this, it breaks the whole loop itself and runs the code at the bottom already. So it just stops the loop. So run this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it just stops at 5 because it breaks the loop. Even if you put I equals I plus 1, it stops the loop because of the break function. Those are the basic explanations of the for and while loop. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next week, we're going to discuss importing libraries in Python, specifically the random library. I'll see you next week. Stay curious!